Just bring me the list, please. This is a very laid-back town hall. In our regular meetings that we have of our Board of Commissioners and Planning Commission, we cannot have dialogue. That's according to the rules of the meeting. So what we would like to do is be able to hear and just hear your concerns and hear things that are going on with you in the community. And we can also answer questions. If we don't have an answer to the question, I'm writing, and I'm sure the Vice Mayor and Commissioners are writing the information down so that we can get the answers for you if we don't have the answer tonight. And if you decide, we've got we've got 4 people who would like to speak. If you decide that you would like to speak and you're not on the list, then after the 4 speak, just raise your hand and let me know, and you're welcome to come up and speak as well. So we will start tonight with Linda Williams. And just please state your name and where you live.
Hello, my name is Linda Williams. I live at 7606 Hurley Lane, and I live right here in Fairview. And I'm here for the same reason I was here 60 days ago at the last town hall. I had a complaint about a home on Lake Road. I can give the address if you like.
Please.
7114 Lake Road. At the time, we had a temporary codes person, but shortly after, right before the last meeting, a gentleman named Tom Ponder notified me that he was going to send a letter out to the homeowner to try to clean up whatever can be. It's a health hazard. It's a fire hazard. It's disgusting to look at and drive by. I have been asking about an ordinance. Nobody's been able to answer that question. I was hoping that Mr. Hall was going to be here tonight because he, I know at one time, was a codes person. The very first time I ever complained about this home, he was the codes guy. He at that time said, we'll have to figure out a plan, which I hadn't fully moved here yet, so I didn't know what small town living was like. So I don't think that plan is in place yet. That was around 2015. So I spoke to Tom Ponder the other day and asked him what the ordinance was about and what was going on, and he said, well, we sent a letter with no response. And I said, well, 2 months have gone by. Are you going to send another letter, knock on their door? What are you going to do? I own the home right next door. It is an absolute health hazard. There's rats and mice and everything everywhere. The grass is 4 feet tall. There's probably 7 or 8 abandoned vehicles on the property, as well as a lawnmower, various trailers, batteries, you name it. It's there piling, and it's been piling. The only action that I have ever seen on Lake Road was back when Scott Collins was the city manager and Micah Sullivan was the codes guy, and Micah sent out letters to all the homeowners on Lake Road that were in violation of whatever the code is, which I still don't know. And most of those people did a cleanup, if not tear down, and it was a big, big improvement. This particular house also did some cleanup, but again, it's 10 times worse than it was when I first set the complaint. So I was just wondering if there's been any discussion at all with the codes gentleman and the Board of Commissioners about any of this type of situation in the city.
We have a fully staffed codes department now, and what I can say is, and I'll let Vice Mayor Butler and Commissioner Johnson answer as well, is I personally will reach out, and I know that there's a way to find these people until they get it cleaned up. So we just need to reach out and find out what the process is. I don't think it's letter after letter after letter. There's got to be some finalization, but I would want to talk to the codes department about that to find out exactly how we move
Well,
forward.
he told me, Tom told me the other day that he was going, at my suggestion, why don't you go knock on the door? Talk to someone, wait till 5 o'clock in the evening or something, if they're working. I wonder if anyone even lives there.
That was going to be my
It
question.
certainly looks abandoned. If someone lives there, it is a horrifying situation.
Tom, do you know if the property taxes are current?
I do not. I can look into that.
I can look that up. That's an easy one. I can look that up on my phone right now, so I'll do that. But yeah, it very well could be. I don't, there's only one car I occasionally see there, but the rest have all been abandoned for years. So I just really feel like if, we love our city and, if somebody comes to Fairview, if they drive down Lake Road, they'll turn around and drive right out of here, fast. Even though there's $800,000 homes that were just built there. And I don't know who would buy them, honestly. But hopefully we can get this taken care of.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, the next one to speak is Ms. Trolley. Mr. Trolley.
He'll speak later. No.
It had an M, Trolley, so I was like, well, Mr., Mrs.
Al Tiroli, I live at 7300 Shepton Park, Fairview. I have two items, just basically two questions. The first one is regarding the upcoming election for the unfilled BOC seat. Is there a projected date? Is the date, from when the person resigned? Is there a state law, statute, or charter thing that says it's got to be in so many days of that point? And then the second question on that is, what's the projected cost, to have a special election?
Okay, so at our next meeting, which will be the first Thursday in September, there'll be a resolution which will be voted on by the board for, they will vote for me to go to the Election Commission and talk to Chad Gray and get this underway. He has said that anywhere from $25,000 to $40,000 is what the cost will be.
Okay, thank you. The second item is just a question on, you see so many signs about subdivisions and coming soon and this and that. On 100, just prior to where the new car wash is being built, maybe a couple hundred yards, I think it was Brightland Homes had a sign there, beginning of the year or so, last fall, saying coming soon. And after that March strong winds we had, I think the sign blew down. It's never been put back up again. Is that project still going, or has that been rescinded, pulled back, or?
Vice Mayor, you want to speak to that?
Trying to think, there's a piece, there's a townhome piece that was probably approved nearly a year ago on that site. And I don't remember if it got final construction plans or not. But the next phase would probably be construction plans at Planning Commission meeting. They would have a staff meeting and then a development agreement, and then it would go into construction prior.
Okay, then also next to, was it Dollar General or Pizza Hut, back a year or two ago, there was a sign for a car wash coming. That sign is still, I think it's been knocked down, but still laying on the grass. If you drive by, you can see some wood in that. That wasn't the one that's being built now. I mean, any idea about that thing? I mean, you see these things, signs, and then all of a sudden, nothing, and you don't hear anything about it. Just curious.
Well, anybody can put a sign up and with a sign permit, and we put the agendas out. So the best way to find out what's coming is if you look at the agendas on the Fairview Facebook page or on the Fairview Tennessee site, our city site, it will list the items that we're voting on, so that those are the I guess construction that's going on.
I mean, it's probably voted on like a year ago, and then nothing. No sign, no more. That's the
But
only reason I'm asking.
to truly answer your question, for us to know that, the developer or the owner of the property would have to get with the city, the codes department. Then that information would be disseminated to us if it was going to be on a future agenda. So I don't think any of the three of us would know what the answer on that property would be tonight, but I do know the sign is laying on the ground, the grass growing up around it. I did see it today.
That's right. Ms. Trulli, that piece, to my recollection, never came in front of the planning commission with any kind of construction or engineer drawings for a car wash. That's when it would trigger, or if it, depending on what the zoning is, it may need a rezoning. I don't remember ever seeing that for that piece either.
Okay, thank you.
And those signs could also be, they're trying to attract it, saying this lot would be great for such. And until it comes to us, we don't know.
Until it's on our agenda, we, most likely have not heard that it's coming yet.
Okay, thank you.
Can you just, yes.
We have a sign ordinance in the city of Fairview.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
We do. Okay. Because I know when the previous administration was in charge, you couldn't put up a sign anywhere without, actually, he would go around and put the signs up for you. So that's why I was wondering, because I have seen signs popping up everywhere that I thought, well, do we?
I don't know that he would put up somebody's own advertising sign. He would put up like public hearing signs for a property to,
He put up signs, Scott Collins put up signs for us for the, when the Friends of Bowie were in the, what was that fundraising that we did, that big company? The Big Payback. I took the signs to him myself, and he put them around
are you
the
talking
town.
about the big, huge sign that had like the,
No, they were just signs in the ground,
Well, the
like
one
yard, like a yard sign.
The one Mr. Trolley's talking about was a large 4x4 post sign.
Right.
And-
And that sign on Highway 100, just past where the new car wash, that was the same company that's building off of Lake Road in, where Tony originally developed that property. It's the same company. Yeah.
I think they've changed their name.
And I think they either
Celebration.
They have changed
changed
Celebration
their names or
now.
sold out.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Celebration Homes, yeah.
Celebration Homes
Okay.
now.
But we do have a sign ordinance.
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know how the sign ordinance pertains to like private property, real
Yes.
estate signs. So I don't know about that. Like there's right near Tractor Supply, there's a sign that shows a commercial building like future coming soon or something, but we haven't seen that at the planning commission meeting. And so I think it's just more of a marketing. And I don't know the surroundings of a ordinance on marketing or real estate signs. I'll have to look into that.
All right. Our next person to speak is Mr. Josh Cherry.
Good afternoon. I'm Josh Cherry, 7112 Kyles Creek Drive in Fairview. I've spoke a couple times up here, basically on the same subject, but I just kind of wanted to come back from where we left off at the last town hall meeting, which I was pretty happy that y'all are doing this, so I appreciate that. Open dialogue is always good in town, I think. So over the past couple months, I've been doing a little more research into, some of the issues that I brought up in the past, some of the step system issues that I've brought up. I've also done a little research into stormwater issues because that's another issue I think is a pretty big concern here in town. So I was looking and talking with some colleagues and friends, and we were looking through things. I couldn't find anything on MS4 in this town, and so I ended up contacting the scientist that I've hired to do some work for me on my property, and he helped me do a little more research because he works closely with TDEC and these guys. So I ended up talking to him, and I found where y'all had adopted it back in May, actually. Or it says that y'all had done a remission on it, I guess, or added something to it or changed a part of it. But y'all may have adopted it actually in 2022, and maybe did a change in 2023 is what I kind of saw. I'm not really familiar with what the change is. It looks like y'all got a mix of maybe Davidson County and another county that has adopted this that's in phase 2. right now, and I think they're working maybe into phase 3. But MS4 is a pretty important thing. It covers a lot of like educating the public on stormwater and stormwater prevention, from kind of polluting your neighbors' properties and things like that. It dives into a lot of industrial waste stuff, which doesn't concern too much of us, but it could maybe down the road. But I mean, when I digging into all this stuff, I realized that a lot of these practices, in my opinion, maybe are not being used or haven't been used in the past, and it's something that I think that the city should definitely look into, maybe really looking at the stormwater. And then, because when you approve a large subdivision, ultimately it ends up at TDEC's lap, and they're going to have to approve it after that. So if you have all your, it took, I think Chattanooga was a county that is kind of leading the charge in the MS4 stormwater protection, and they have a pretty good ordinance and setup going on with that. So when I was talking to Tim Jeanette, I think, at TDEC, which is over the grading department, he was like, well, you don't have to really, the city doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. They can just adopt an ordinance, and then that, and then they can implement it. You don't have to, you can find a town that's doing a good job and then do that. So that was kind of my, mission after that, was investigating more into that. So I had a question on the last town hall meeting when I said, who adopts ordinances? And I don't think I got a super clear answer on that, but I did more research on that, and it's y'all. Y'all come together and y'all, decide on what ordinances the town needs to have. So that's kind of in y'all's lap. And I just think that maybe y'all should look into, adopting ordinances for the step systems to make sure that we have UV lights and secondary filters that really do a good job of cleaning it. If step is the only way going forward, like I said before, I want it to be of the utmost quality and the highest building standard and practice for our little town. Because, at the end of the day, you want to protect your neighbor. I know y'all want to do the right thing. Everybody else, I want to do the right thing when I'm building. I build in Nashville, and we just got done with a project, and we had to have so many feet of pipe underneath the ground for our gutter system, and that's the stormwater for this tiny little lot, But we have to make it work, and that's that's something you just have to do. And they're going by the rules now, and it's helping. And our city should do the same thing. We should be an example. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So, Vice Mayor Butler, I would like, if you would like to speak on that. I know that there's a situation where you don't have to adopt till after you're 10,000 people, and we actually took it upon ourselves so that we could take care of our community to adopt before we were at 10,000. Could you speak on that, please?
Yes, ma'am. So we have engineers that handle all this, so I'll try my best not to mess it up. But in anticipation of the most recent census, we anticipated that we would hit 10,000 in population. That's the number that triggers when you handle your own MS4, your own stormwater program, and the state no longer will handle it for you. And so our in-house engineers put a stormwater ordinance together that we adopted 2022 or maybe late 21. I don't remember the exact time frame or date. That is above and beyond what the state standards are. And so anything coming from past those dates are going to have a much different stormwater than what we've seen in the past for Fairview. Some of the things that we've had discussions on are things like we now require the first inch being captured. So your immediate chemicals or pollutions are going to be captured in the ponds rather than immediate just pass through water. So your ponds are getting bigger now. We, instead of designing to a 100-year flood, we made them design to a 50-year flood. So there were several things that went above and beyond what our standards were prior. There's language as far as slopes. If you're on a certain slope, certain caliper trees can't be removed. You can't disturb you can't disturb areas with certain slopes. There's probably, well, over 90% probably of our neighborhoods in Fairview probably wouldn't be able to be built the way they are today if that stormwater ordinance had been in place for the last 20 years. Like it was a huge change from what used to be done to be done now. And we did it in preparation of, we didn't want to wait for the state to say, hey, you're MS4 now, figure it out. We tried to go ahead and put that stormwater ordinance in place to be prepared for the day that they told us we had to take it over.
Yes, that's correct. So you're right. The state has actually had this MS4 in place since 1996. Most counties and towns in Tennessee don't even haven't known about it or don't do anything about it. But the main thing is that you need to know that the state is usually the bare minimum
Yep.
when it comes to their standards. They're not out here trying to regulate you to death to where you can't get anything done, but they take it upon the towns. There's towns with not as many people, smaller populations. They don't have as many rules. As you get bigger, like you said, things come into play, and we're there. We're about to be.
That's why we wrote our own stormwater ordinance and
That's
adopted
right.
it.
So at the end of the day, we have to set our own standards. We have to make it to where it's better than what the state is just requiring.
Yeah,
And that's-
we're way above what the state requirements are.
And we need to, not only that, we need oversight, and we need to make sure that these things are actually happening and not just in place.
Yeah, we had 2 engineers at one point, and one of the engineers that hired, one of the main, as we transferred into that stormwater ordinance, one of the main objectives was stormwater for that engineer. Now we sub it out, and so now we've got a full team. We have stormwater specialists, we have land planning specialists, we have engineers, civil engineers, and so our ability to sub it out now gives us a little more of a bigger picture. So they're the ones who would review all the plans to ensure that they're meeting the ordinances. And then one of the biggest things that we've implemented over the last few years that was never done before was an as-built at the end of the project. And so a surveyor will have to come out and complete an as-built to prove and show that it was built exactly like the engineered plan showed, because over the years, they weren't being checked at the end. And so in the front end, it says, yes, this works, but then it wasn't built to how it was designed. So now you see an as-built before anything's finalized to ensure that it's exactly built like the engineer drew it, to ensure it's going to work and function properly.
Okay.
Where we never had that before.
There was a program that my friend ran across, and he told me about, and I looked it up today, and it was pretty informative. It's a coalition, I guess, in Williamson County called CARE. It's Citizens Against, let me pull it up real quick so I don't tell you wrong. Citizens Against Reckless Expansion. I think that might be a good thing to maybe look into and maybe just talk with them, because they're having a lot of these problems right now. And it covers Williamson County, but their main concern is like Thompson Station. We don't want the problems that Thompson Station has. And that they're concerned about. We want to work, to prevent that. We don't want to, we don't want to be facing challenges down the road that other big towns have already faced, and now they're trying to pull themselves out of a hole. That's all I got. Sorry.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Next on the list is Miss Kathy Tiroli.
Hi, Kathy Tiroli, 7300 Shepton Park. I'm with the Friends of Bowie's garden crew, and we are in need of volunteers to help us. We take care of the gardens in front of the nature center and at the restrooms, and at this time, there's only about 5 of us, and we only spend an hour each week, but we get a lot done. But if anyone is interested, just show up on Tuesdays at 8 o'clock at the Nature Center. In a few weeks, we will start at 9 o'clock, and no experience necessary. We'll teach you, and we have a good time. And we want to say thank you. We now have park rangers 6 days of the week, or Sundays also, Tommy Peterson and Larry Hill, It is such a pleasure to have them and to know they're there to help out, and that the Nature Center is now open Monday through Saturday from 8 to 2. And that is a great accomplishment there. We're hoping that soon there'll be a naturalist in place so we can bring back the programs that Bowie is very famous for. And we hope that there will be another employee to help Keith and Justin with all the work that is needed at Bowie. And I want to say, for Richard Ross, he is doing such a great job with all the city activities that he is planning. It's just great to see everyone coming together for all these events. The next meeting of the Friends of Bowie will be Saturday, September the 9th at 9 o'clock at the Nature Center. And then the City of Fairview Parks and Landscaping meeting will be on Monday, September the 11th at 7 o'clock at Triangle School. It's open to the public. So thank you very much.
What time is the September 9th?
9 o'clock at the Nature Center.
Okay. And also, would it be possible if teenagers from the high school who needed service hours to volunteer, would they be able to get service hours for that?
Yes, we had a young lady over the summer months that did Tennessee Promise. And if they can't make it, like on Tuesdays, which we will meet them on Saturdays or even after school so they can get the hours in.
That's good information to know, because I know with the Tennessee Promise, there are required service hours.
Yep.
And, you know, I would like to see us put out a list of, you know, just like you're mentioning about the gardens, I would like us to put out a list where the teens can, you know, look to see where they can get service hours.
Right, and in a couple of weeks, I hope to meet with the teacher that takes care of the Future Farmers of America and see if we can get something working there with different programs.
It is very exciting that we've got the Rangers on board, and I did want to point out that our 3rd of July celebration won Main Street Media. They announced this morning it won for Best City Event for 2023. So that's very exciting. And I'd like to say thank you to Richard for
Yes.
everything he did to
And
make that a
he's
success.
I can't wait till Christmas. He has some great ideas, and
Yes.
it's going to be wonderful.
Yes. Okay, I don't have anyone else signed up, but I see a big group over here. Does anyone want to come and say something?
Ms. Mitchell.
Well, I really wanted. Like to speak first? Sure. Okay.
I actually wrote something out that I was going to say, but I don't think that it's quite right in this forum. I actually thought I was going to be speaking to all of the folks from Roundtree that are here, but I also know that a lot of them are live streaming because there are a lot of people on disability at Roundtree Apartments. This little girl lives at Roundtree. I think listening to the people before me, I kind of understand even a little bit better what's going on here. My name is Nancy Mitchell. I am a longtime friend of a family that lives at Roundtree, and now a friend of a lot of people that live at Roundtree. I am a 20-year Williamson County resident, and I have been advocating for the underserved probably most of my adult life. I have never seen anything like Roundtree Manor Apartments, and I've been in a lot of places over the last 20 years. I got a call one day from Charity Taylor, who's sitting back here. Been with her for a long time, friendship. And her call was basically, we have a rat infestation here, and they won't do anything about it. And I knew exactly what she meant when she said that. she meant we have no voice. Because I know Charity Taylor had probably complained a bunch of times, hadn't you? Meant we had no voice. So guess what? I became the voice for these people. Why did I become the voice? Because when I see their babies, I see my baby. When I see their mamas, I see my mama right there. That's right. That's right, sweetheart. It's hard for me to keep it together. I see a bigger problem. I don't really want to talk about rats and hot water heaters that are broken and wires that are chewed up and things like that. But I do want to tell you a story before I talk about what I really want to talk about. This little girl right here, one night was screaming in the middle of the night because there was a rat in her pack and play. There was a hole chewed in her pack and play, and they rushed her to the ER, and she had scratches all over her legs. This has been going on since May, this infestation. And by the time I got involved, it was the end of July. I went to the office, and I said, what can we do to problem solve? Because I always want to problem solve. And I got a very smug look from a lady named Lisa. She said, I don't care what those people think. Let me tell you something. You want to tell you who these people are and who you are in watching the live stream? You are the people who are driving to Franklin, taking care of our families, taking care of our mothers and fathers who are at the nursing homes, working at the restaurants, and now you live out here in Fairview, this growing community, which I'm totally getting after seeing the people before me and what they're asking for. They live out here in Fairview because they can't afford to live in Franklin. In fact, the two people that I work mainly with aren't on Section 8 vouchers. They're in low-income housing. 50% of the people that live at Fairview Manor are disabled. They're on disability. They're sick. Sandy, sitting back here, has 2 brain masses, 2 brain tumors on her brain. She's lived there. How long have you lived there, Sandy? Oh, 10 years? 10 years she's lived there. She's got mold. She's got she's got water coming down. She's got the stove that doesn't work. She's got all kinds of issues. All right. Let me talk about just, can I have some more time? Is that okay?
You can speak as long as you'd like.
You guys okay? All right, I wrote this part out, and I want to read this part. I've heard a lot, I feel like I know everybody there. I've heard their personal stories. The definition of a slumlord. A slumlord is a property owner who does not properly or ethically manage their residential property. A slumlord is technically defined as an unscrupulous landlord who milks a property without regard for tenants, neighborhoods, or their interests. If you Google an example of a slumlord takes advantage of tenants by ignoring them to pushing them around with threats of eviction and sometimes worse, creating fear that allows them to be in control. There you have it. That's Roundtree Manor. That's what they've been doing for years. Do you guys agree? Okay. And here we are, 30 days later, after me sitting in that office with that smug lady saying, I don't care what these people think. 6 news stories, 3 news stations, 2 visits from the state fire marshal, an electrical inspection, and an uprising on social media. And they finally started fixing things. And I am angry. We have had a family, these 2 little children and their family, in a hotel for 30 days, And guess what? Me and my friends, and some friends here in Fairview, have been paying $100 a night, over $3,000 we have paid out of our own pockets to keep them in a hotel, while Roundtree Manor Apartments decided whether or not they were going to fix the moldy, wet carpet where that baby was bit by or scratched up by a rat or whatever happened. They couldn't say at the ER because they didn't want DCS called. Do you understand the situation here? How this just is a cycle for these people? It's sick. They don't deserve to be treated this way. It's a slumlord over there. Now, I understand now. This is a growing city. And you guys are making a lot of changes. Mayor Anderson, you and I got you, right? I understand what you're doing here. There's a lot of things that are being implemented, and I understand from codes to sewer, drainage and whatever is going on, right? But you have a bunch of people who have moved here because they've had to move here to be able to afford to live. And we have to recognize and take care of those people. All right? So Roundtree Manor came in and has totally renovated this apartment. Sharniqua, will you stand up? Sharniqua's family, she works at NHC, 12-hour shifts, taking care of our families. These are her 2 babies. They came in and they renovated her apartment. Man, they do it up. The floor, the paint, changed out the blinds. They did everything because the news crews had been out there and they were in for it, right? They fixed the rat problem in that building by going in the 2 apartments underneath, getting the nests. They were abandoned apartments. Now they're just working like crazy, having their feet held to the fire, right? We believe the rats are pretty much gone. We haven't seen a rat in a trap for a week. Tomorrow, my team goes into her apartment. We took everything she owns to the landfill because it was so infested with urine and feces, urine and feces, okay? We took it all to the landfill. Down to, a sock. We didn't keep anything. Tomorrow, I have a team going in and is completely furnishing her apartment. Down to the candles and the soap in the bathroom. And it will be beautiful. And meanwhile, she's paid her rent the whole time, by the way. So that's wonderful for Sharniqua. That's wonderful that we got things fixed for charities. 31 rats that she caught in the pot. You probably saw on the news, right? What about everybody else? What about everybody else on the property? This is where I'm going to turn it over to you guys so you can explain what we've been talking about, right? But first, I want you guys to know that you are brave. You are warriors, and I am so impressed by the citizens of Fairview. Roundtree Manor will no longer control you, and they sure as hell ain't ever going to control me. I have been banned from the property, by the way, for just speaking up. Now, obviously, you can tell I'm a professional. I speak in a professional manner. I didn't go there and raise hell. I went there to problem solve. I did not go there threatening a lawsuit or anything like that. In fact, I told them I do not want a lawsuit. I work for an attorney. I know what that takes. I said I want to problem solve. I don't want anybody to have to move. I don't want this place shut down. Just fix the place. Be the hero and be the hero in Fairview and fix up this place. But instead, they said, we don't want to deal with you anymore. We're calling the police. We're going to bar you. Bar your voice. Like I said, they can't control me. They cannot control me. All right, I'm going to let you guys do the talking. Thank you so much. Sure.
I'm Melody Snodgrass, and I've known Nancy forever, and this is what she lives for, is helping people who have no voice. These people over here have been afraid to speak because they know that they're under the threat of eviction, or they'll get their rents raised, or something that they're not going to be able to survive. What I would like y'all to do is set up a way for them to report without fear of retaliation, because they don't know where to turn. That's why they called Nancy, because they knew she would know who to go to. She even called a judge to say, I've got to get back on that property tomorrow. So the judge has taken care of that, and she'll be able to go with us tomorrow when we go to fix this. But what I really want from you is that you give all these people who are just trying to make it a way to communicate their needs without fear.
I have all of their needs, by the way, on my private messages, because they won't communicate them to anyone else.
Was Miss Snodgrass the last speaker? Was that your name?
Yes.
Where you live?
Brentwood. This is Melody and Dr. Snodgrass.
See, and Nancy, I apologize. I was thinking that some of the ladies and gentlemen would like to speak, and then I was going to have you speak last. That's why I didn't call you up yet.
But this is Charity on the end. She has been on all of the news stories. She is the hero in the story. She's the one that called me. She's the brave one.
And she's the one I'm afraid will be retaliated against. And that's why they don't want to talk.
Hi, Sandy.
I live at 3103 Roundtree Circle. I do have 2 mats on my brain. I have proved for like at least 3 years the apartment above me has done nothing but leak water. There's mold coming out my bathroom. I have 2 mats and I'm smelling that every day. I have a hot water heater that I've used for over a year now that has caught on fire. They're doing nothing. They're fixing empty apartments nobody lived in. That's all they're doing. They're not fixing mine. I got a hot water heater delivered the 14th at 9 o'clock at night that was gonna be left outside. We asked to put in the laundry room. It's still up there. I'm still using the one that caught on fire. They're not doing nothing.
She's been approved. She's one of the ones that's been approved for a hot water heater. It's kind of like their electrician last week that quit in the middle of all of their electrical stuff. So it's just a mess. It's just a mess.
And this is the only time I actually get to say something without them saying anything to me. They're not doing nothing. It's a mess. It's disgusting over there. I had no idea this lady had rats. But like when the fire marshal come out, no sooner than they left, the apartment in front caught on fire. It's bad over there. Somebody's gonna get hurt. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. So you got a new thing in your lap?
What is up? Because I'm too tall for this. Hi, I'm Navasia Stewart. I'm the daughter of Charity Taylor. We live in 5202 Roundtree Circle. And living there, at first, we've been there for a year and a half now. And at first, everything seemed to be fine and everything like that. I'm just basically telling you the story of my actual firsthand experience living there. At first, everything was fine. There was no rats or anything that, you know, we have been going through now and continue to go through. But my mom, she caught 31 rats, as you know, under the sink the day after Mother's Day. And so that's just like, you know, it was on us for a while because it makes you think, like, on holidays, people cook. They like to bring our family around and, you know, enjoy each other's time and company and everything like that. But when we caught the 31 rats, it made us think about how many other rats have we not caught during the holidays. Like, you know, during Christmas, during birthdays, during, you know, any holiday. But one thing is when we reported the situation about what was going on, and it's basically like it went on like deaf ears. Like nobody was listening to us. And then after we told them about that, we got an eviction notice. Nobody would expect to get an eviction notice after something that's not our fault that is going on and that we have to live with. Okay, sorry. It just kind of makes me emotional, just even speaking through all of the things that we've been going through. But we had a, what's the guy called? A maintenance man that honestly, we don't know who he was. I was there that day and I don't know who he was. He came in, had mud all over him. He didn't even tell me who his name was. What his name was, sorry. And when he checked the water heater and he opened it, he said, "Whoa." And so I'm sitting there like thinking, like, is there a rat or something like that? But he told me that, he asked, "How many times have you flicked this?" And I, like the thing to turn on the hot water, because we didn't really have hot water. We had to flip the switch. And we're still, doing that now. But he told me out of his own mouth that if we would have flipped the switch one more time, that it would have exploded and we all would have died. He told me that flat out. And so that obviously made me even more like skeptical on living there, and also my mom and everything like that. And we, reported that problem, and it was still, falling on deaf ears. Like they basically didn't want to hear it. And when we would come to them with our problems and things like that, literally asking for help, they would basically turn the other cheek on us. They wouldn't try to listen to us, or they would have like an attitude on the fact that we're trying to ask them like, "Hey, we need some help on this. We're trying to come to you, like regular people and talk about it." And they just weren't trying to hear it. And then on top of that, my mom had to come out of her own pocket just to fix the holes underneath the sinks. And there were holes in the sinks, there were holes under the cabinets, and there was rat feces basically everywhere. There were some in the bathrooms, there were some in the living rooms, and we couldn't figure out how they were even, coming until we figured that out. But yes, like I said, my mother came out of pocket on, we had to basically fix our own place when we asked for help, like civilized people. And just with that, it was just, it caused a lot of stress on our family. And with that going on, it wasn't helpful to our family, because if we reach out and ask for help like you told us to do, and now that we're doing that and it's a problem and you don't like the fact that we're asking for help instead of like, this was before Nancy, and you're not helping out, then we felt like we had nowhere left to turn to. And seeing my mom having to I feel like while we were going through all that, seeing my mom going through so many emotions, just the emotional turmoil with it, and her crying almost every day. Because she had tried in so many different ways. We tried to do it ourselves. Like I told you, we tried to go to them. We tried to, really just do as much as we possibly could. Because at this point, when we were going to tell them, we would keep getting for example, like we were saying, the eviction notice, or something saying "Oh, you're not supposed to be doing this, or you're not supposed to be doing that." But who wants to live with rats? Who wants to live with mold? Who wants to take a shower and literally step out and there's mold around the tub? Who wants to go to sleep and hear scratching noises in the night and literally, I don't even know what the rest were doing. I don't know if they were fighting or anything. I know that might sound crazy, but going to sleep and you trying to sleep by the wall, and it's this constant scratching and the booming and the noise and things like that. Nobody even wants to go to sleep. It's hard to even go to sleep in a house now. And we continue to go through that. But I just hope that somehow that y'all can make this better for us, not just for my family, but for everyone that's there, because I know that we're not the only ones that are going through these things. And I honestly think that nobody should have to live like this, because who should? Thank you.
Thank you.
This is interesting for you guys if you follow the Fairview sports around here, but Charity's other child, Nevaeh's brother, is the star of the 8th grade football team. And he goes to school with this kind of drama going on in his home. Can Can you imagine what that does to a child? But yet, we're at the games on Thursday night going, yay, go Bryson, go, because he's making the touchdowns, right? We got to take care of our neighbors. We got to take care of each other. I don't care where you live. That's the point. And as Fairview grows, and as that Fairview expands, and as more people move out here in different, levels of income and different socioeconomic backgrounds, we have to have things set up for everybody. I think that's probably enough said.
Do you know the score of the game?
Right now, 28-6. Oh, last game, did you guys win? 28-16. How many
Is there-
touchdowns did Bryson make? 2. And what? 2 and 1 tackle.
They're playing right now at Burns because my son plays with him.
So you know who Bryson is? Okay.
We put in maintenance requests and stuff. I got 3 years of documentation where I put in maintenance requests, got videos and everything. They won't do nothing. They won't do nothing. The so-called maintenance man, he literally sits in the office all day till I thought he was married to that lady. I did. I thought that was his wife because he stayed up there all the, well, occasionally they went shopping at Walmart. But nothing gets done. And you do get threatened. Like, I got a violation because I complained about my hot water heater again. I got a violation for not having my dog on a leash. So it's bad over there, and like somebody's really gonna get hurt. I mean, I broke my ankle on the sidewalk out there.
Because there's no lights out there.
No, it's, I could show y'all some stuff that would just blow
pitch
your
black.
mind. Yes, you can't see your hand in front of your face. And then the building, I'm in next to them, and the building next to them, there's a trail that comes out from the houses behind. I've got people out under my window doing drugs and everything. You cannot see nothing. And
There's a bullet hole through your son's window.
2,
2.
where they sat in the creek and shot it out. That was over a year ago. The cops was called. Nothing's ever been done.
All right, well, let's hear what they're going to do.
And if anything like that happens, we have a wonderful police department, and I would suggest making a phone call if something like that's going on. Yes.
No, they don't want anybody out there seeing this film. But I got all kind of videos. They don't want to be recorded. They don't want anybody out there.
So, all of you here are neighbors. Nancy can tell you that we've spoken for hours on the phone about all of this. And, I've been told over the years different things. So the dumpster is overfull, and, there's, furniture around the dumpster, and, just minimal things that I can, what I would consider minimal. I've never heard anything like this. So I'm glad that you have an advocate, and I'm glad that you're brave enough to speak up, because I think people are nervous. I was a little nervous when the news came out here earlier, and I love to public speak. I love to talk to communities. I love to, I love doing that. But it's a little intimidating to talk to the news, and that is one of, having the news out here and bringing faces to this situation where people can actually see people hurting and needing help, and having Nancy advocate for you. I mean, that's going to go a long ways to getting as you see, it's not going to be fixed overnight, but they're moving because they're having pressure put on them by Nancy in the news. And the ones of you have been so brave to get up and, speak about it and let us know that there are bigger problems than just some trash on the street. So, you know, you're our neighbors, and we need to know when, you know, when things are going on. There are rules we have to follow, but I can promise you that myself, you know, I'll stay informed with Nancy and what's going on, because I know that she's, you know, been your voice, and she's told me what you've had to endure, which I had no idea that was going on. I don't like seeing anybody having to live this way. Yes, Patrick, do you mind? Patrick Carter's our city attorney. He's here tonight, and there's specific codes that we have researched that can help with this situation.
So Fairview's property maintenance code is at 12601. And in addition to that, the city of Fairview has adopted the 2012 International Building Code. If you look at the 2012 International Building Code, it's detailed at section 309.1 regarding vermin and other health hazards. So the process to enforce a city code would be, and this has been done, for the codes inspection officer to conduct an inspection based on a complaint or complaints, send notice to the property owner, the private property owner, setting out the alleged violation and asserting that unless it's remedied within so many days, that the property and the property owner will be cited into city court. Under state statute, the city judge has authority to issue up to a $50 fine per day for any continuing violations per violation until the violation is cured or taken care of. In addition, Fairview does not have its own health department, but Williamson County certainly does, and I understand they've been informed of this situation and are taking action. I understand that it's been reported to the state, so the action that Fairview can take is separate from action that those two entities can take. I think that addresses the codes, what the city can do as far as a codes issue.
Let me break it down just a little bit, because that was very technical talk, a little bit. Basically, codes is involved now. And because they're involved, they're going to come out and they're going to see what's going on, and they're going to write citations for those things. Is that correct?
No, they have to be, property owner has to be noticed, which they've been noticed, that
Yeah.
the city codes department is aware of the problem, and they've been instructed that they have 7 days to notify our codes officer of the plan to remediate. And if there's not a plan to remediate, and if the problem remains, then the city will issue a notice of violation and setting forth a court date.
But there's not just one code violation
I understand.
here.
I understand.
So are you saying that the codes department is going to come out and see what violations there are? Right?
I would think after hearing what we heard tonight, Mayor Anderson's going to ask, and Mr. Doherty, our city manager, is going to ask our codes department to visit the community and the various, I guess, their apartments. And if there's remaining code violations, then they will get notice and they'll be cited eventually if they're not fixed. And
Okay,
by
I think
eventually,
that's what I
mean
just said.
7 to 10 days.
Right, that's what I said. Codes is going to come out, they're going to see all your issues, and they're going to write the citations. If there's no issues, they're not going to write a citation, okay? But we know
Well,
that there are.
Excuse me, the part I think it's noticed is the landowner gets notice first.
That's fine.
Before the violation.
It doesn't matter to them what order it comes in. They just need to know it's coming,
Okay.
okay? Does that make sense to everybody? So codes are coming. If there's a violation, then the property manager, or the property will be notified. Yesterday, there was a letter overnighted to Hallmark in Atlanta, and they got it this morning, right? About the rat infestation. They have so many days to take care of it, and if they don't, they're going to be charged $50 a day until it is taken care of fully. With each violation, is that right?
Per violation, continuing violation. Now listen, as far as I know, our codes inspector will need to go out and find the other violations, because
That's what
the
I said,
letter that was
yes.
sent only dealt, but I heard handrails from
Right.
one of the.
But I just said, the codes inspector is going to go out to the property and find all the violations, if there are any, right? And write them up, send them to the property manager or the property owner, and things will get more in motion. That's the hope I want to instill in these Roundtree Manor residents tonight. I'm not promising what they're getting fixed or anything like that. I'm just understanding from you that codes is involved, and if codes is involved, they will see it. And if they see it, they will alert them. They will have so much time to fix it, and if they do, that's what we want, right? Is that, I'm just trying to get it broken down plainly. Does everybody understand that? That is huge for you guys. That is a huge, huge win. Thank you so much, Mayor Anderson. Thank you, City Attorney. Thank you. I just know you by City Attorney, but I'll know y'all's names real soon. And I want to thank everybody that's watching the live stream, all the supportive people on social media, and the people that reach out to me. It's unreal. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Mayor Anderson, for posting your cell phone number on Facebook. That blows my mind.
I've always posted my cell phone number. I welcome anybody to call me at any time, and they do.
So I have a question for the residents, and you may know this, but have you reported or discussed this with any attorneys, or particularly anyone with legal services in Franklin? Okay, because when you report a violation or report a problem, they cannot legally tell you they're going to evict you. That would be a wrongful eviction. And that's the kind of things that legal aid lives for. They love to litigate those cases. And so there is a legal remedy for the things that you're talking about.
We're in touch with legal aid. I'm in touch with Elizabeth Learson.
Perfect.
Yes, and I didn't even need to go to legal aid. I just went to the office and I said, take those eviction notices off because they weren't done legally. And she said, yeah, I just wrote them up and put them on their door. And I said, yeah, that's a shut the hell up. That's a shut the hell up eviction notice, isn't it? I know how y'all people operate. It's disgusting. So she took them off. So we got rid of those eviction notices.
Good. I just want the citizens to know there's a legal process. There's a process they have to follow too. They can threaten and they can talk and they can be obnoxious, but in the end, there's a legal process they have to follow. And if they don't follow it, they can be held accountable. And if they don't follow it, there's damages, treble damages that can apply where you can get money from them for trying to wrongfully evict you. And so it's important to be heard. It's important that due process be followed. So that's good that was done and that they dropped those notices, dropped the eviction notices. But I think it would be a good idea to consult with attorneys at legal aid, because you may well have a claim for what they've put you through.
We understand that, and we also have an attorney who's willing to work pro bono. Y'all don't know that yet, but we do if we're going to do that. Who wants to go through all of that? Who had the money? First of all, I know legal aid is out there, but who wants to go through all that? We just want everything fixed and everybody go on with their normal, everyday lives. These are just simple little problems. We don't want lawsuits. Do y'all want to be involved in a lawsuit that just drags on and on and on, nothing gets done? No.
Well,
and I get you. I get you. Because I work for an attorney. I know what you're saying.
Well, let me finish. These types of lawsuits don't go on and on and on. They're on a very short timetable when landlords make threats like that. It's generally done through General Sessions Court, and so the trial dates come very quick. It's not like a case that's set in Circuit Court or Chancery Court where it could take years. Okay? And
I
it's
understand that.
important to know that you do not have to be a victim here, that the attorney is there to represent you and make sure that if they're going to try to do something, that there's a process they have to follow. And if they haven't done it, then there's damages that you can recover for their failure and their inability or just failure to follow the law. Okay, intentional ignorance or purposely ignoring the law. There's things that you can do, and it's important to know that. And unless someone tells you that, it's not the kind of knowledge that people just grow up knowing. So I just want you to hear me when I say that. You have rights. The Landlord-Tenant Act in Tennessee is very strong for tenants, and you absolutely have rights, and it's important to seek those rights out. And there's people that if you can't afford it, there's attorneys that will represent you for free, either through legal aid or through pro bono. Okay?
That does sound really fabulous in theory.
Well, it's
So,
more
I
than
got-
theory.
I
I
get
do a
it.
lot of pro bono work. I've
I
worked
get
for
it.
legal aid. I've volunteered for years and years. They do excellent work. That's all I'm
I know.
saying. If you
I get
choose
it.
not to seek it out, then that's fine, but it's there for the taking. It's there. Lawyers pay money on their trust accounts, which results in millions of dollars every year that go into legal aid. So it's funded, and that money's there for problems like this.
Yeah.
And it's important to know about.
I completely understand legal aid. I understand all of it. And at the end of the day, like I said, we just want the problems fixed, and we don't want this property to be condemned. We don't want Hallmark to go under because they don't have anywhere to go. So I would like to take the path and encourage them to keep taking the path, and let's be patient, try to get some things fixed. It could be a beautiful property, and let's do it in a very civil way, be kind to each other, and have some backing, and just get it done. It's not rocket science.
All right, does anyone else like to say anything or speak before we close our town hall? And we really appreciate everyone. You are all our neighbors, and we appreciate you coming out, and we appreciate us being able to dialogue like this. And just remember, every month that has a fifth Thursday, we have a town hall so that we can dialogue. Anything else, Mayor Butler or Commissioner Johnson? No, ma'am. Okay, thank you everyone for coming out. We appreciate it, and we will adjourn.